Long time.
Long time no see.
Good to see you. Hi, Jae Edwards, Sprytraining. Today I'm here with Harry Costello from UCL Medical School. He's going to go through the endocrine system with us. What is the endocrine system, Harry? What is it?
So the endocrine system is the means by which the body can communicate its signals from the brain to around the different organs and allow physiological process to go on. And it does this by means of chemical transmitters, or biological chemical transmitters, called hormones. And there's a whole variety of hormones with different physiological processes which go on. And so famous ones that you may have heard of are kind of insulin, which is secreted from the pancreas and is associated, if it isn't secreted enough or if it doesn't work as well, then it's associated with diabetes. And then also there's other hormones such as thyroid hormone, which can also cause disease. With regard to specific muscle mass though, and muscle gain and training techniques affecting hormones, there are some hormones which have a particular effect on muscle deposition and muscle breakdown. And so we break those down into anabolic hormones, which promote muscle growth, and catabolic hormones, which promote muscle breakdown. So the most famous anabolic hormone is testosterone, which has been often, it's been used by athletes who are cheating with drugs and so on.
Yeah, just to reiterate this, at Spry, we absolutely tolerate no drug taking, both athletes and clients. If this is found out, you'll be, whisked away off my list.
But other hormones which are less well known with regard to their anabolic effects and muscle build-up effect, insulin-like growth factor, and also human growth factor.
Okay, right. In terms of for my athletes and for my clients trying to gain muscle, gain strength, how can the system be put to its optimum? How can the system be optimally performing? Is there anything we can do to have this effect?
Well, for example, after any heavy training exercise, what will be naturally happening in the body is the anabolic steroids, so the ones that promote muscle growth, will be increased, and those hormones that decrease muscle growth, so the catabolic steroids, will be decreased themselves, so those levels will go down. So you've got a natural kind of positive balance there favouring muscle growth. Depending on muscle growth, it's not just which hormones are secreted, it's the means and mechanisms by which they're secreted into your system. So for example, a long-distance athlete would have an increase in his anabolic steroids and a constant low level of secretion. That's for their endurance. So it'll be constantly going along favouring muscle growth, but mainly endurance. Whereas if you're weightlifting and you're having that very high explosive energy output, then you get high pulses in these hormones.
So in other words, it fluctuates in anaerobic activity, but aerobic activity is more consistent.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And also, and we also know there's different muscle fiber types which respond differently to hormones. So you may have heard of type 2 and type 1 muscle fibers. So type 1 muscle fibers are slow twitch fibers, and they are typically seen in endurance athletes, so they're looking at efficiency of muscle activation, whereas type 2 are fast twitch muscle fibers, and therefore the very explosive nature of athletes, such as your sprinters and your weightlifters. And those different fibers are found in different anatomical sites, but they also respond differently to hormones. And so if you have type 2 fibers, they respond more to the testosterone and that power hormone pulse surge, and as a result, that's why you get a lot of muscle build up there.
Right. Okay. Is there any particular illnesses out there, or is there any negative cons that could possibly put some sort of deficit or have a negative effect on the system from being, functional?
There's countless number of endocrine diseases out there.
But in terms of athletes or of people training, things to look out for, is there anything that could sort of immediately affect them rather than, say, long-term illnesses in that sort of sense? Anything more immediate they could be looking out for?
Well, it's very difficult to say, because even with athletes, diseases such as kind of growth deficiencies and growth hormone deficiencies, diabetes, and other hormonal deficiencies, or having too much of a certain hormone can have a negative impacts on the body. There has, you do have to. You always, if you're an athlete and you're consuming a lot of calories and a lot of kind of, you have a high glycemic intake, so a lot of sugars, which a lot of athletes do consume, then you must be always wary of common conditions such as diabetes. And hallmarks of that, the first symptoms you'd see of that would be kind of increased thirst or going to the toilet quite a lot. Right. And but to be honest, a lot of with athletes, there's naturally they have a healthy lifestyle, and that there's increased exercise and mobility.
And the average Joe, the average bud going to the gym and training 3 days a week or maybe 4, they have to look out for these things as well.
Yeah, well, they can look out for them. I don't think there's any significant. On the balance of things, if you're exercising, you're active and you're healthy, then that's good for you, and your risk factors of common diseases are probably lower than the rest of the population. So I don't think there's any real concern with regard to your health if you're having an active lifestyle and you're going to the gym a lot. I think that can only be encouraged.
Okay, right. Thank you, Harry, for that. So for me to take from that, to summarise, I would say, the factors that's going to contribute to this hormonal system is the training patterns. So your training patterns, you need to utilize your training patterns. If you're on the aerobic side, where you're a runner, cyclist, swimmer, if you're that way inclined, obviously you need to take into account those patterns. If you're more anaerobic, more explosive, sprinting, weightlifting, these kind of stuff, it's all obviously more fluctuating the pattern. And the training styles, if you are lifting, this will increase your anabolic hormonal types and decrease your catabolic hormone types. So when you get in the gym, train sensibly, lift. And for me, I like to lift in the 85 to 95 one repetition max. So lifting heavy, and in order to get the pituitary gland, where this all starts, to release these important hormones to create a very healthy and productive endocrine system.